Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. This is your host, Janie Charlot, and welcome guys to a new episode. Today, I want to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about that I've actually had this conversation with some other people, and I thought it would be a really good topic for a podcast. Okay. So, I'm talking about going from faith to knowing, or going from belief to knowing. And I think this is important to talk about because the times that we are in, all right? We are in a knowing season, a knowing time, all right? We were once in a blind faith or a blind belief time, but we're not now, all right? We are knowing. We have to know now. And I think we have to start shifting our mindset, shifting our awareness in how we go from faith to knowing. All right. And I'm gonna try to break it down, simple as simple as I could do it. So I just want everybody to open up their minds to the information, see how it resonate with you, see how, are you stuck in faith and you need to move into knowing? Are you stuck in belief and you need to move into knowing? Okay. So we were once in a time where blind faith was needed. It was an energetic vibration of that time. All right. So a lot of that was believing in things blindly, having a strong belief in something, even if we didn't see it, even if there was no proof, we just blindly believed it. And I think that type of faith is needed. All right. But I like to say that faith is the beginning of a spiritual journey. So it's like the training wheels of a bicycle. All right. You can't stay on the training wheels forever. Eventually, the training wheels come off and you ride the bicycle. Right. So faith is needed for any type of spiritual journey. But when do we go from faith, like, oh, I believe, I have faith in this, I have faith that this can happen, into I know that this can happen. It will happen. I know that it could happen. And I think that in saying I have faith versus I know is totally empowering, right? It changes the vibration. It changes from I believe and I have faith to I know, right? Totally different. It's almost empowering to say, I know, right? And I think we have to move into that. All right. So I personally believe, all right, and this is my personal belief, that organized religion is very good at building faith, right? And depending on where you are on your spiritual journey, that may be necessary, right? If you are somebody who needs your faith built, then organized religion, in my personal opinion, has been good at that, right? But I have not seen where it takes you from faith building into knowing. And in my own journey, uh, I have come to that conclusion. Okay. So, and you have to self assess, right? Are you somebody who don't have a lot of faith? You have a lot of fear in you. You need constant reassurance. You need reassurance. You need somebody to instill those, those things into you. Then you need faith building. And perhaps organized religion is helpful. But again, remember, that's just the training wheels, right? It's the beginning of a spiritual journey. You have to eventually get on that bicycle and ride it, right? So and if you always stay in faith, you really become stuck, stagnant. You actually could stunt your personal growth. You could actually become disconnected from a true spiritual growth and evolution. All right. So let's talk about how do you move from faith to knowing, right? And my personal experience is there was a time in my life where faith was necessary. I needed to build faith. So the time that I could actually remember is when I was in college. I was trying to get through nursing school, get through clinicals. I had to build my faith. I prayed a lot. I spoke to, the God out there or wherever it was, give me perseverance to get through nursing school. Give me the faith I need to get through college. Give me, the strength. Give me these things. I prayed constantly for that, right? Now, as I evolved, my faith was there. So I got through nursing school, right? Then I was able to get my first job. Then I was able to start a business. Then I was able to finish a master's program. Then I was able to do this and do that. So the faith I didn't need to build faith because faith was built, right? So in organized religion, for me, that's where it kind of stopped, right? Because I was beyond faith. I know that it's not just me doing these things. I have a prayer life, I'm meditating, and I know as I put these prayers out, there is something that transpires because of the prayers that I put out. So faith is built. And not only that, I realized with proof that when I asked for these things, I achieved these things. So faith was built, right? Faith was built. How do I move from faith to knowing, right? First of all, you have to have the willingness to question, all right, your beliefs, all right? You have to have the willingness to explore everything information that you're given, all right? You have to have the willingness. So some people through childhood, you were told that, Jesus is your Lord and Savior, and that in Jesus' name, you can do X, Y, and Z, right? So I was a person, I never used the word Jesus. I never used that. I really wasn't programmed or indoctrinated in that way in my upbringing. So I never used the word Jesus, right? However, I always address my prayers as these are the things that I need. These are the things that is currently in my life that I need. These are the skills I need, whether it was courage or faith or whatever, right? So I never use the word Jesus, right? So in that proof, right, that I could ask for these things in the universe and these things happened without using that word, I knew that I could question. I started to question. So I had the willingness to question and explore other possibilities, right? So the willingness to question your beliefs, question what maybe you were told, all right? Also, self-discovery is how you go from faith to knowing, right? So when something else would occur in my life, right? Let's just say a divorce, okay? I had already known, I already had faith back in college, right? That I could do these things and it will happen. It already proved to me back then. So faith was already built, right? So now in this second challenge, right, a divorce, I know now that I will get through this challenge by the words that I use or that I'm asking for because of what was already done before in my life. Now, I pay attention as well. I paid attention to how God and faith worked in my life back in college. So this current challenge was knowing. I already knew that I needed faith back then. So now it's not a matter of faith. I have faith. I know that this situation will be worked out for my good, right? I know that. So it is the willingness to question your beliefs, but also self discovery. Okay. So constantly exploring your own life and the things that are happening and allowing your experiences to prove itself to you, right? So, um also you have to see growth and evolution as a process is how you go from faith to knowing, okay? Um we can't just stay stuck in faith. We can't stay with the training wheels, right? We have to get on the bike and eventually ride it. And I think sometimes faith can stunt us from our true growth and evolution if you're on a spiritual journey. All right. So being open and seeing your life as an evolution and journey is how you go from faith to knowing. All right. Um, you have to be a truth seeker. This is a big one. All right. Going from faith to knowing is you have to seek the truth. All right. And the truth of how that resonates with you. All right. And the truth of everything, of how it all works in the universe. Okay. Sometimes people's truths can be very different. So, but, and I think that is how you get stuck in faith, right? Is by not being a truth seeker, not questioning things that don't make sense, but never made sense to you, right? Or even like you've been praying the same prayer, but none of the prayers have come to pass for you, right? So seeking the truth, all right, is also how you can go from faith to knowing, all right? The last thing I want to mention is having a strong will also will take you from faith to knowing. Because one of the things I have seen with people who are at are stuck at the faith phase is they believe that they could have all the faith in the world without putting action. And that is not how it works. All right. You have to put in action. So you have to put in willpower. You have to have a strong will. All right. You have to put in action from faith to knowing. I could have all the faith in the world, right? I could have all the faith in the world that I'm going to run a successful weight loss business. But if I sit here and all I say is, I have all the faith that I am going to run a successful weight loss business without ever putting in action, it won't come to pass, right? So strong willpower. You have to put in action behind the things that you want, right? And in that rolls into manifesting. And I know a lot of people think that the term manifesting or manifestation is a new age, but it's not. There's nothing new under the sun. I think we know that by now, that we go through cycles and periods of time, and there's nothing new. So, um, but it is having a strong will and you have to put in action. So some people get stuck at just the faith, right? So from faith to knowing, all right? So one is, like I said, is being open to new knowledge and new information, questioning things that perhaps have you stuck in faith. Your life is stuck. You're trying to move from this point to the next point. So start questioning. Question, why are you still in faith? Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said before, faith is a beginning of a spiritual journey. It is it's like having the training wheels on your bicycle. But how long can you ride a bicycle with training wheels. All right. When my son started learning how to ride a bicycle, he training wheels was like, you know, a phase, and then it was gone. Then he was riding his bicycle, right? So it's it's a necessary step, it's the beginning, but you cannot stay there, right? You have to go from faith or from belief to knowing, right? And I think it is important for us to have that faith in things, that belief in things, but we have to move from that. And moving into knowing requires a strong will, all right. Like I just said, it requires being a truth seeker. All right. It requires seeing life as an evolution and a growth process, that you're here to learn spiritual lessons. All right. Otherwise, you'll get stuck. Right. And you'll see people who, seem to be living a beautiful, abundant, prosperous, loving, godly life, but you seem to be stuck and you don't know why. So perhaps it's because you haven't moved into the knowing. All right. So I just wanted to put that podcast out. All right. This is going from faith to knowing. All right. From belief to knowing. All right, guys, if you have any questions, leave us a comment. My name is Janie. This has been another episode of Matters of the Heart and Soul podcast. As always, we appreciate your support. Please like, subscribe, and share. This podcast is inspired by all things of the heart and soul. This is how we connect our hearts with our minds for perfect alignment. And I will catch you guys at the next episode. Take care.